Hey folks, Dude here, and well, I'm a little bit of a hurting dude. I'm still kind of a little rough around the edges. The voice is still a little fried. I attended both days of the M3 concert at Merriweather Post Pavilion. Now, what that comprises, it is a bunch of, well, former, newer, older, and still functioning members of the heavy metal, rock and roll, and good times like that pretty much organization of music. Oh man, I my voice is just fried from yelling at all the bands. And if you look on my Facebook, I'm not going to put the link on YouTube, but if you look on my Facebook, there's a picture of me backstage jamming out to Quiet Riot, and I was off to one of the sides. And the reason why I was doing all that stuff is simply because there is a group of people involved with, and hopefully rebuilding soon, the classic Baltimore nightclub known as HAMMERJACKS. This is the new bumper sticker. This is the classic bumper sticker. And both these bumper stickers, well, they really truly mean something to those people in Baltimore, and they really truly mean something to people in the rock and roll community. Now, the thing about it is if you guys don't know the history, and it's very much a jack this up just a touch. It's very much an East Coast thing. If you guys know about HAMMERJACKS, it was literally the largest rock and roll club on the East Coast, largest consumer of Budweiser on the East Coast. Hands down, they took in more and sold more Budweiser than any place on the East Coast, and that's including stadiums. Now, put it in perspective, if you looked at this thing from top down, essentially what it was three locations. The original location was a place down in Old Town Baltimore, and it was kind of a small, schlocky little club, and it had its just origination, and it grew beyond its means. So, the next place they set up was actually currently the Lot HJ right next to Camden Yards, or the baseball stadium in Inner Harbor, Baltimore City proper. And essentially what it was a 120-year-old brewery building. Now, adapting a brewery to be a nightclub involves some pretty, thinking outside the box. I mean, you're working around stuff that's built in a certain way. Like, part of the way the place was built, there actually was huge cutouts in the middle of the floor for the big brewery, all the grain silos and all the brewery things, all the areas where you're actually like fermenting the stuff and distilling the stuff and actually making the stuff. You need some very tall areas. So literally the floor would be a huge cutout with a, literally like a fence of walkway around it. Now, for a club, that makes perfect sense. You have people on the upstairs, people on the downstairs, you have a stage there, everybody's just like looking over. Awesome scene. But you're making do with a building that is built in its footprint. There's not a lot you can do with a building that's 120 years old, because if you knock down a wall, potentially half that building just goes, so there's limitations of what you could do. Now, if you look at this building from front back, the left side of it was the dance side. So literally it would be like DJs spinning music. There was 48 bars. Literally 48 bars in this nightclub. So on the left side, it was the dance side, and essentially what it was pretty much DJs spinning music, girls dancing on bars, all kinds of good stuff like that there. An example, like this lady. Yeah, that was, that chick was on the bar. 1988, 87, something like that. Well, anyway, so that's a classic example of the stuff you would see at HAMMERJACKS. Now, the thing is a lot of bands got their origination there, and a lot of bands actually broke through there. GNR played there. White Lion played there. Pretty much any hair band you can think of at least passed through and played there in their infancy, or when they started getting bigger. As a matter of fact, Kiss actually played at HAMMERJACKS. Place was full to the rafters. I cannot even begin to tell you how full that place was for Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley when they played literally as Kiss. The place was packed. It should have been like 4,000 people max. 7,000 people. Yeah, a little full. Well, anyway, so the other thing, too, is a band that was known as putting that place on the map, and of course, that place putting this band on the map is a band called Kix. Kix. If you guys know them, Cold Shower, Tell Me Not. I mean, just a bazillion songs. And they played at the club that got them started, was literally a place called the Seagull Inn. I live 5 minutes away from the Seagull Inn, folks. So let me tell you, if anything happens at the Seagull Inn, also known now as the River Watch, I'm there in a hot minute. And there's a band I follow that's kind of an 80s cover band, and, the New Romance. Okay, if you guys want to look them up, the New Romance. They play locally, Maryland area and everything. Very good 80s band. Really enjoy those guys. They're awesome dudes. But the thing about it is all this weekend, I literally was working with HAMMERJACKS. That's why Friday I missed out. And that's also why I was kind of really hating life later on. I mean, I'm really banged up now. You start closing in on something like 50 years old, and you pull a weekend of rock and roll festival. No matter how easy you're taking it on yourself, it's not going to be good. Case in point, frozen margaritas. Tequila to kill you. Oh man, that was a really bad wake up to go up and do it again. Oof. Don't do that to yourself. Tequila on top of beer on top of adult beverages. No. Ooh, not good. One go break up on this one, folks. Eat good, keep the timing as always. If you know it, you love it. Go and check out the M3 Festival at Meriwether Post Pavilion. You will not be disappointed. It is a 2-day rock and roll fest of nothing but head-banging goodness. Got to meet Jack Russell. Got to meet other, notable people in the area. It was a good time. Jack Russell from Great White. Okay, you got to look at the history of it. Okay, folks, I'm going to break off on this one. Eat good, keep the timing as always, you know it, you love it. HAMMERJACKS. HAMMERJACKS coming back. See you guys.